I think in our experience here dealing with Bible prophecy, there's a lot of, I think, too much focus on the dark side of prophecy. Here at the Christian Embassy, we try to focus on the bright side of prophecy, the return of Jews to the land, the restoration of Israel, the redemptive process here in the end of days. But a lot of Christians, when they read books about Bible prophecy, it's dark and it's all the bad things prophesied in the Bible. They tend to cram everything into the last 7 years of the tribulation. And I think it's left us vulnerable in the days we live in now before we hit that tribulation. That people get confused and disappointed when sensational, speculative, prophetic books come out about blood moons or Shemitahs. Nothing happens, and it just leaves people confused and disappointed. And so I think there's a great need, and this is what the book serves, to try and shed light on the period before you get to the tribulation. What are the signs? What does the Bible have to say about it? And if you ask Jesus about this, his eschatology, the end times, he would say days of Noah. And Peter, in his letter, follows the same analogy, flood analogy. Jude does it as well. I make the case in the book that Paul does it in Romans chapter 1, and also John in the book of Revelation. It is full of flood analogy because the prophets, the Hebrew prophets in the Old Testament, it's flood analogy throughout, a comparison of the days of Noah with the end of days. And I don't think you can get on more strong, solid scriptural ground than Jesus himself as in the days of Noah. And I think the value of the book is that it unpacks the flood analogy in a way that's really relevant to our times, what is happening around us, and really illuminates, rolls back the curtain on the prophetic times we live in like no other book. I know there are books out there about the Nephilim and UFOs. I tried to stay away from that and really focus on man's moral rebellion, and the nature of it, I say, is the use of a scientific pretext, Darwinian evolution, in order to walk away from God, discard with him, and evade any moral accountability to our Creator, that this is actually an act of idolatry that has led to sexual immorality and violence, which were the hallmarks of the flood, the pre-flood rebellion, how it's happening all around us today. And I think the book is the first one that I know of that really unpacks that analogy in the certain way I do it, of the process of the rebellion, God's response to it, also the elements of a righteous remnant in the earth today, and the greatest, most unmistakable sign, like the building of the ark, the building up of Zion, the restoration of Israel, is the greatest sign to our generation. We're about to be judged. And it's the first book that I believe out there that says we are already in the days of Noah. In the Bible, this is a term of art, and it refers specifically to the period between God's decision to judge the world before the flood and his actual carrying out, execution of that judgment 120 years later.